really good to see you. Thanks for your time, as always. Look, can we start? We've got some exclusive interviews this morning talking about the terror concern in the UK in the wake of what's happening in Gaza. A lot of concern as to potential threats over Christmas. What do we do to make Britain safe?
Well, look, the most important thing we do is we stay vigilant, and there's a lot of information out there. Counter-terrorism police put out information, you can go online and find it, about staying vigilant, reporting incidents that you may be concerned about, and making sure that you're aware of the issues that are facing us. But I think the most important thing to do as well is to make sure you stay in touch with the police if you are concerned. And the police are doing a fantastic job at the moment. I can't tell you about what our intelligence services are doing, but they're doing an amazing job as well in making sure that we're all safe.
And this all comes in relation to the sort of flare-up of tensions, to put it mildly, in the Middle East. We get the good news this morning that truce has been extended. Hamas saying by one day, Israel not specifying the length of this truce. How hopeful are you that it could hold beyond the next 24 hours or 48 hours?
Well, what I'm very hopeful of is that the hostages are released, because, frankly, it's absolutely outrageous that some are still being held by Hamas. And, you know, this ceasefire held right up until October the 7th, when Hamas broke it. So, really, it is very clear that Hamas decides when the ceasefire starts and ends. And so what we've got to make sure is that while those periods of peace are enduring, and they are brief, we're making sure we get help to the Palestinian people. And I know there's many different efforts being made, including by the British government, to make sure that the Palestinian people are being looked after, even though Hamas, a hateful death squad, are being rejected by many people, including in Gaza.
You talked earlier on about keeping British people safe and doing what we could. Can we move that to the online world? Because there's an increasing concern over scams, whether it comes to money, data, romance, all this sort of thing going on. We say online, it all happens half of it's happening on your mobile phone at the moment. What is the government doing, or can the government actually do anything to tackle this?
Well, look, there's something that we're launching today, which is the Online Fraud Charter. And this is an agreement between us and various of the different platforms, including Instagram, including Meta, to call out some of the areas where we're seeing abuse and to fix them. And this is where we've got an agreement with the tech companies for exactly the reason you just highlighted, that we're seeing identity frauds in dating, in marketplaces and so on. And we're trying to make that end. Now, what we've agreed is that they are going to improve ID verification so that you know who you're talking to is who they say they are. The second thing is, where there are scams, they will be taken down more quickly. And the third thing is, you should see fewer scams and fewer fraud anyway, because they will be blocking them at source. So the three things there, better identification, stopping scams and blocking fraud, is exactly what they should be doing. And I'm very grateful that many of them have agreed to do so now, and I'm looking forward to others joining as well soon.
Yeah, but sorry, Isabel, I was just going to say, on the front of the Metro of all days today, the front of the Metro looking at the Molly Russell case and the charity which her father now runs, claiming that young people are still being targeted with harmful content by tech firms. And, of course, it was claimed by the coroner that led to her death. So, I mean, there's an urgent need to crack on with this, isn't there?
That's absolutely right. That's actually addressed slightly differently. That's addressed by the Online Safety Bill, which will be coming into force very shortly. And that's about the harmful content that sadly led to Molly taking her own life. And it was an absolute tragedy. And frankly, it speaks a lot to the responsibility of firms that promote or in some ways amplify messages through their algorithms. Now, what we've got to make sure is happening is that young people are protected from the kind of hateful content that reinforces harmful messages. And that's why the Online Safety Bill is so important.
I want to ask you, Mr. Tugendhat, about this royal book leak. I wonder if the government is taking a view on the author, Omid Scobie, given the damage and the harm and the distress a number of his allegations have made to the royal family, and also if the government takes a view on whether or not it was right for them to be named on British television. We've taken a very clear view here at GB News that we will not be repeating those names. What is your take on it all?
Well, look, I respect your decision because I wouldn't be reporting such scuttlebutt either. And the reality is that His Majesty the King, in his first year and a bit of his reign, has been, I think, a brilliant monarch for us and has done us proud. The way and the dignity with which he welcomed incredibly wide range of foreign dignitaries at his mother's funeral, his own mother's funeral. It's quite remarkable that he had to be there in an official capacity, not just in a personal capacity. And then the way in which the coronation went with, I think, such glorious pomp and circumstance, I think demonstrates that the royal family is much loved by the British people and indeed much loved by many people around the world. And if people like this author are trying to profit off the back of it, well, it says more about them than it does about His Majesty.